Rating more Battlegrounds buddies, round 2. If you haven't seen the first part yet, I recommend you check it out first or after this one. It actually doesn't really matter. It's not in chronological order. Or if you don't know what buddies are or all the other new things that we got in these patch notes, I also have an entire patch breakdown. But okay, let's go into these buddies now. Grebel got a tier 347. Okay, I can pronounce it now. Wandering Treants. But I don't know how to pronounce this. Trent? Whenever you summon a taunt minion, give it +2/+2. Obviously, with your hero power, anything that you summon during combat gets +1/+2 and taunt. This will just give it an additional +2/+2. I don't see you making a composition around this card again, because it is a neutral that you have to keep on the board. It reminds me of Kiraji. Kiraji was a tier 4 5/5 that whenever a taunt dies, it gives adjacent cards +2/+2. So it gave +4/+4 whenever a taunt died. This just gives you +2/+2 whenever you summon a taunt, so it's kind of worse, since the buffs also land onto the taunt and not adjacent cards, so you can't land it on Divine Shields. Overall, this is just a tempo tool, right? You just play your Death Rattle or your Reborn stuff. This is gonna help you get a really strong board and probably level with it. It is not something more than that, I think. I'm just gonna give it a 2. I don't think this will make Grebel a whole lot better. I don't think it can compete with the stats that other cards can put on the board. Now, do keep in mind that whenever you buy a taunt and play it, I think this also gives those stats. So just passively, if you buy whatever taunt in the shop like Ring Matron, it is gonna have an additional +2/+2 bonus. So I guess it's nice for that. Just, you know, getting some free buffs on cards that you play on the board. Then Guff Rune Totem got the Baby Kodo, a tier 4 3/6 beast as well, so it can stay on the board. It's a beast. That require refresh your Bob's Tavern with a minion of each Tavern tier. The tier 4 you get this like rather late, which is kind of bad, and from every tier, so you get tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s in your shop, but you also get like a 5 and a 6 even if you're not on that tier. So even if you're tier 4, you should be able to see high tier cards. Now, just getting a random 5 and a 6 sucks. It's really bad. There's a lot of heroes that can do that earlier with their buddy or with their hero power. The golden version also does nothing special, and the 1 and 2s and 3s you don't really care that much about. This is actually pretty bad buddy for a really bad hero. This hero power also is just incredibly bad. Technically it synergizes, it gives you cards from each tier, so your hero power can help scale those up. But man, I have to give this a 1. I don't think it will see much play at all. I don't think Guff will see play in general. Kinda sucks, because I do think that Baby Kodo has some cute artwork. Eledon Stormrage, the buddy is a tier 2 6/3 neutral Eclipsean Illidary. Wingman also gives immune while attacking for 1 attack only. So your cards that attack are immune with your hero power, but only for 1 attack. So they get immunity and then they lose it immediately. I think the golden version was for 2 attacks, so they get immune again when they attack a second time, but the one in the back usually only gets to attack once. This is pretty good, like giving a card immunity while attacking. Put that onto a Spore or like any poison or a cleave. That is massive. It's not gonna die into an Amalgam, it's not gonna die into anything. So that is actually a really good card. You get it really early as well, so great tempo. But I don't know if that's ever gonna make Eledon good. Yeah, it's probably not even gonna be good, because also with MarkMcKz, for example, if you're playing a Goldrun build, this is not a beast, you can't really keep it on the board. But if you would, you want your MarkMcKz to die because you probably reborn it. So MarkMcKz attacks in, dies, and then it can trigger again. Well, if this has immunity, the MarkMcKz attacks in, it survives. That's it. And then, yeah. I guess if it's immune, it could attack, survive, and then normally it could attack a second time. But still, this is an okay card. I think it's a pretty good buddy, but sadly for a hero that is just not going to be able to compete with all the other stuff in the lobby. There's better tempo out there, there's better economy and triples. I'm going to give this a buddy a 2. I don't think it's a 1. I actually think this is like not something to laugh at. Immunity is a really big effect, but that's about it. Doki got Clockwork Assistant, which is a mech on tier 3. It has battle cry, discover a minion from a higher tavern tier, so it is basically your hero power but with discover. So you just play this. It's like a Galakron hero power, right? It's literally just the same as, oh, I'm gonna hero power some with Galakron and I get to discover, but you don't need to roll a card in your shop of that tavern tier, and you don't need to spend the 1 gold. Okay, like you could just level and the same turn play this and discover. The good part is also you don't need to buy the card. I guess with Galakron you would have to spend that 3 gold getting it from the shop. So here you can just spike quickly, level, play this, discover. I think it is okay actually. Like this is a tier 3 card, meaning you probably get a turn 5, maybe 6. So usually you level to tier 4 here, play this, discover a 5, and 5s are good direction sometimes. Yeah, I think this buddy is okay. Is it gonna make Doki good? that's a different story. I think it makes Doki a little bit better, but still nowhere near the top. I think I'm gonna rate this just a 3, and that's about it. Then this Barov is still one of the most broken heroes in the game with a token. Let's see what their buddy is. A tier 3, 4/4 neutral Genesis Apprentice. After you swap minions, give them stats equal to your Tavern tier. So, a tempo card. I'm happy that Gendes got nothing too economy crazy or nothing too insane for high rolling, but just something that gives you a little bit of extra stats, sure. So whenever you hero power something and you're on tier 4, let's say, you get +4/+4 onto that card, which is okay. It's like having a Mama Bear on the board and swapping a Beast and giving that stats. You don't really care insanely much about this. Like, you don't just want to swap stuff in the shop just to get +4/+4, because you would have to, you know, spend 2 gold, since you have to swap, sell, buy, rebuy the card. So 2 gold for +4/+4 isn't amazing. On higher tiers it's more, of course, but I think this is just something that you can slap on the board to be okay strong while you're greeting your token triples into 5 or 6 drops. Yeah. Not the greatest buddy, not insane, but Janice will still be nuts, I assume. I'm actually just gonna give this buddy a 2. I think Janice will still be good with token openers, but this buddy isn't gonna end up having a massive impact as far as I can see, comparing this to other things that currently exist in the game. Good to see that they give one of the most broken heroes in the game not a too broken buddy. Then we have Caltos Sunstrider, which got a Crimson Hand Centurion, a neutral tier 4, 7/5. After Verdant's Fierce triggers, which is their hero power, give your hand and board +1/+1. This is just Kurtra's hero power kind of, right? With Kurtra's you just have to cycle a couple cards and you get +2/+2 in your entire board and hand, and then the third time you do it you get +2/+2 your hand and board as well, and also everything in the shop. This is actually a really good card. Like, every time your hero power triggers is every third minion you buy, you get +1/+1 on your entire board and hand. That is not bad. Imagine APM pirates with this. I just realized if you have hoggers and you just cycle a bunch, you can just infinitely buff up your board. Oh, that's kind of sick. It is tier 4 set, so you get it rather late, meaning it's not gonna help you with early tempo, but you have your hero power. I think early tempo isn't really an issue for Caltos. And I'm not gonna lie, this might actually be scaling for Caltos. Like, this seems like a directional card. It doesn't have a tribe, but like, it's better than a light thing, right? If you have a light thing, you get +2/+2 on the board. I guess you have to buy 3 things, so you need some synergies. You still need to like maybe play Major Domo and cycle elementals, but by cycling elementals, you trigger this hero power multiple times. If you have like recycling Wraith, let's say, and elementals. Or again, with Hogger. So I feel like this could stay on the board for a little bit, while you build up, and maybe if your comp leans into it, it could be your main scaling. It's not a first place strategy, of course, just, you know, scaling up your board a little bit. You still lose to Amalgadons and to Poisons, you still gotta play smart, but this is actually a surprisingly good buddy. I think I'm gonna give it a 4, not quite a 5, it's not as broken compared to other things, but this is the first time I see it, and comparing to other buddies that we saw, like AFK's buddy or Cariel's buddy, they give like so little stats. They give like, what, +2/+0, +3/+3 a turn on a couple of cards. This is a whole lot more. This is just an upgrade strictly from those buddies. Might make Caltos good. King Mukla got the Crazy Monkey, which is a tier 2 4/4 beast, tier 2 early, and 4/4 is a pretty decent set line. Also a beast. After you feed a minion a banana, give it +1/+1. Essentially, this is going to give you +2/+2 a turn. I've seen buddies that give +2/+2 a turn, but also buddies that give a whole lot more. Now, compared to Caltos' buddy that we just saw, this is a whole lot worse, but Caltos gets it a lot later. Also, you do have to press your hero power every turn then, so you need to spend that 1 gold for your bananas just to get your +2/+2 bonus. You can choose what targets they go on, so you can just stack 1 card really hard, and you can, yeah, choose where you put your bananas and your buffs, but I don't think this is ever gonna be like your scaling card. It's just gonna be something decent for tempo early on the board, but that's it. Then you just power level, find something else to do, and sell this off. I'm gonna give this a 2. I feel like this is pretty underwhelming, and I know people have been saying, oh, this is crazy strong, holy shit, that's so nuts. I don't see it. Now, Kurtra's got Living Nightmare. A tier 2 5/3. That is a pretty good stat line, really early, neutral though. After you buy a minion, minions in Bob's Tavern have +1/+1 this turn. So it's still permanent stats if you buy the cards and play them on board, I assume. Meaning you could just cycle or buy a couple cards, and then let's say minions have like +3/+3. It is basically Nosdormu, right? Nosdormu's buddy is the more you cycle or roll, the more that stats you get in the shop. So let's say you roll 3 times a turn, you have +3/+3 on your minions in the shop, and you can even still buy like 2 of them or 3 of them, let's say. While with this card, you would have to buy 3 cards, then you get +3/+3 on cards in the shop, then you have no money left to buy those. You do get it really early though, so it's just gonna be some stats, like you just buy something that you have +1/+1 the next thing you buy, and that's about it. Pretty underwhelming. The stats it's gonna put out is just not a whole lot, especially since, you know, it doesn't stack, it resets every turn. Yeah, it doesn't give you a whole lot. I'm gonna give this a 1. I think this doesn't really, like, it synergizes with your hero power because you want to cycle, but in the end, you're not gonna get that much in return. Like, your hero power is just a lot better than this buddy. Then we have Lich Bazial, Unearthed Underling, a tier 3 4/4 neutral. Whenever your hero would take damage, this minion gains +2/+2 instead. Woo! I don't know if you guys remember Floating Watcher, that was a tier 3, then a tier 4 4/4 demon. Whenever you took damage, this will gain +2/+2. So, with Wrath Reavers, every time your Reaver skills up, this thing would skill up because you would take damage. Or if you hero power with Lich Bazial. Now, this is a better version because you don't even take the damage. So if you have Wrath Reavers, you cycle demons, you gain... It's like a Mal'Ganis already, or a Katranatira, I should say. You don't deal any damage to your hero, you scale up your Reavers, and this scales up a whole lot as well. Plus, I guess you get free gold. Like, if you hero power, you get free gold every turn. You don't need to roll for Katranatira anymore. This thing will scale incredibly well if you play demons, of course. And even without demons, let's say you don't play Weavers at all, or there's no demons in the lobby, and you just hero power every turn, you get 1 coin and +2/+2 for free a turn. Now, it is a neutral, it's not a demon itself, but I think this will just make Lich a demon player. Like, you just want to force demons because it has so much crazy stats. It should easily be able to snowball into a top 3. It doesn't win you the game yet, like it's no economy, it has no triples or whatever, just stats. We've seen a lot of stat buddies already like this. But yeah, if you remember how broken Floating Watcher was with demons, like it was so strong, you get this guaranteed, and you don't even take the damage. Like, I think, yeah, this is gonna be rather good. Is it gonna make Lich Bazial really good though? I think it's gonna make her better by a lot, but I don't think she'll be like S tier or anything. I have to give this buddy a 4. I think this will be really impactful. I think it will make Lich Bazial see some play. Lord Barov, I heard a lot about this buddy. I haven't seen it yet. Got Barov's Apprentice, a tier 2 4/3 neutral. After you play a gold coin, gain 1 gold this turn only. What the fuck? Let's say you win your bet, you get 3 coins. You just gain 3 extra coins. It just doubles your gold essentially, right? Like every coin you spend, you just double. Wow. It also works with Briny Bootleggers. So let's say you have like Bootleggers. Those are the pirates that give you a coin every turn. You also double that money. And money is one of the best things to get in the game because guess what? It allows you to level, to buy tempo. It's like it can do anything for you. If you're weak, buy more stuff. If you're stronger, if you want to greed or have a triple, level a whole bunch. It is super flexible and it is a good body. You get it early since it's a tier 2 and it's a 4/3. It can stay on your board until you're on tier 6 and then you just sell it and just do broken stuff. Now, you do gotta win your bets. If you lose your bets, this is 0 value and you just die, obviously. But good players win often with Barov. Like, it's very easy to judge fights in the early game depending on if people level, how people performed lost fights compared to other people, if they're staying down, what cards they bought, the tribes. This card alone, let's say you win a couple bets in a row, can generate you up to like 10 or 20 gold. That is madness. I have to give this a 5. I have to. I think it's just gonna snowball in the right hands. But I think in lower ranks, this is not going to be as good. I think in lower ranks, people also have issues knowing how valuable economy is, how to spend your gold wisely, and how to power level, or to judge fights with your hero power. But yeah, I think the higher up you go in the ladder, the more impactful Barov will now be. Because, dude, your hero powers are now so much more important. If you miss, you're dead. Lord Jaraxxus, okay, I'm interested to see what he's gonna get. He got Kill Wreck, which is obviously a demon, a tier 3, 3/6, Taunt, Death Rattle, add a random demon to your hand. So another card that generates you a card every turn. We've seen a lot of those. They all give you different cards in different shapes and forms. This is a demon itself, and it gives you a guaranteed demon every turn, which is pretty good. If you know Brand's Egg, it's a 0/3 taunt that gives you a single battle cry, which isn't guaranteed decent. But demons, you should guaranteed get value because you're Jaraxxus. You're gonna play demons, you might have Wrath Reavers, you're gonna get your triples easier. It's like a Witch Ring or something. And this can stay on your board. It can scale up and be part of your composition. And I assume that the tripled version, yeah, is also just nutty. Just keep it. This is a really good buddy. Sadly, Jaraxxus is a really bad hero. I don't know if this will make Jaraxxus playable. It depends on how good demons are in a meta, but I mean, if demons are in a decent spot, I actually see Jaraxxus, you know, seeing some play. You know what? I'm gonna give this a 4. I think this is really good. We've seen a lot of cards that generate you a single card a turn, but worse. Like, let's look at Elise. This might even be better than Omu's, because Omu you get pretty late since it's a tier 4, and it's a random card from your 7th tier. Guaranteed demons when you're playing demons is probably better to get. Again, you can compare this to Impatient Doomsayer, which generates you maybe 2 demons a turn, but you have to play an Avenge board for that. It can get sniped, it's a 2/6 neutral, so you want to sell out of it, and it's tier 4. This should be a whole lot better. Okay, I did not expect that. I'm happy to see Jirex is getting some love. Now Mayev. This is one that a lot of people are scared of for a number of reasons. Shadow Warden, a tier 2, really early, 4/4 neutral. Battlecry, your next hero power, makes the target golden and awaken 1 turn faster. The fact that this is a tier 2 buddy, you get it really early is scary. If it was tier 3 or 4, I would not care that much. But yeah, you can just make anything golden, essentially. It's a Reno hero power, but it's delayed, first of all. So if you hero power something, you have to wait 2 turns before you get it. So this means probably if you find like a Bran or a Lightfang or whatever card you want to golden, you can't just hero power it, because you would have to wait 2 turns until you spike. You rather just buy that card already, right? So I think this hero power will mostly be used on cards early on, just for the discover. Like if you find a token or whatever card in shop, just hero power it, wait 2 turns, power level, and then discover from that triple into a 5 or 6 drop. Which is kind of already what Mayev does. She just hero powers pairs and triples in the early game, power levels, and then gets them and triples. So I think in essence, this card is just discover something from a higher tier. Which is good if you get this early. But we've seen other buddies do kind of the same. Like let's say Toki's buddy. Toki's buddy might even be better than this, because you can just instantly play it and spike. Well, with this you still have to wait 2 turns. But you, in both cases you discover something from a higher tier. You get the golden, so maybe if you get something like a selfless hero power, that would be really nice. But yeah, I think this is overrated. People are losing their mind thinking this is gonna break the game. I'm gonna say no. I think this is just gonna be as free. I think it makes Mayev good, makes Mayev, you know, a little bit better than she is right now. It's not gonna make her break the game or beat a high roller still. Bold claim, I know, some people might disagree, but hey, I stand by what I say. And Maligos, I think they might have gotten the best buddy in the game. Got a tier 3, 6/6 neutral, really good buddy. Next is Lord Arcane Alteration, replaces a minion 1 7 tier higher. So your hero power upgrades. What the f? It's like Galakron on steroids. On Galakron you hero power and you get something from a higher tier. And costs 1 gold, and if you want something from 2 tiers higher, you have to freeze and do it again. You can in 1 turn discover stuff from 2 tiers higher. Let's say you're on tier 4 by the time you have this. Your power 4 drop turns into a 5, your power 5 drop turns into a 6. There you go. Again, it's random. With Galakrons you can discover, but I am fine taking random 6 drops when I'm on tier 4. You know, that is still insane tempo. Most 6 drops will be good. So that is disgusting. You can also just get 2 5 drops on tier 4. Like, I don't know, that seems insane. Like 2 discovers on higher tiers a turn, like that is nutty. This is gonna change the playstyle of Maligos though. With Maligos you used to just stay down and buy tokens, hero power those, or try and find triples. You still do that, but as soon as you got this buddy online, you'd shift. Because as soon as you got this on a board, you'll just start hero powering higher tier cards in order to find your 5s and 6s and just snowball. Like this card, I'm actually scared of. I think this might actually just make Maligos the best hero in the game. This is without a doubt 5 points, and I would be surprised to see this not be good. Next up we have Marston 1. They got Lay Flame Power, which is a neutral tier 2 3/6. Power of the Storm, which is your hero power, offers 3 options instead of 2. So it just got the Hooktusk treatment. Hooktusk also has a really good hero power. This just gave it 3 options instead of 2. This doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. You get like higher odds of finding a good hero power, but it's a 3/6. You get it really early, you keep it on the board for a bit. It never stays on your board for too long just to get that extra discover option. Like Marston 1 is already strong, is already rather consistent. This will just help you find, you know, maybe a Reno hero power a little bit earlier, or in a Kazam's Ice Block. You're still super unlikely to get Reno though, so it doesn't like really help that much. It's not an amazing buddy. It's just like, it makes one a little bit more consistent, but I don't think you need that. On Hooktusk, it's a bigger impact, because like your discoveries on Hooktusk might literally mean triples, might literally mean some good cards, some economy, and some tokens. While this third option might not even help you at all. I'm gonna give this a 2. Actually, no, I'm gonna give this a 1. The more I think about it, the more that, you know, this is just so low empact compared to other buddies. Milton Monostorm, also one of the most broken buddies I think I've seen. A tier 2 4/4. Great stats, you get it early. Milton Monostorm. After you buy a minion, add one of the same tavern tier to Bob's Tavern. Now keep in mind, you get your buddy really early on the mill house because you should win most fights. You should have a full board, and the more cards you have on the board, I think the more it counts towards the buddy meter. And damage dealt, like I think Millhouse gets this super early, maybe even turn 4. I don't know if it's possible to get it turn 3, but if it is, then he's gonna get it. It's after you buy a minion, add one of the same tavern tier to Bob's Tavern. Like, imagine staying on tier 1 and just buying all the 1-drops and you just have a hand full of triples. That's the first application. Just stay on tier 1, 2 or 3 and just find triples onto all the cards that you want, because every card that you buy is gonna put another card from that tavern tier in the tavern. And if you do it on 1, like, tokens are free. So you can even be on tier 3, right? And just buy 1-drops and keep cycling 1-drops. Like, you don't need to be tier 1 for this. So either you just cycle 1-drops tokens, you get all the triples, or then you go into higher tiers, your tier 5, tier 6, let's say, and every 5 or 6 drop you buy, you get another 5 or 6 in the shop. Like, this is not healthy. If you have a brand and you just buy that, and then you get a Murazond, and then you get free economy. Millhouse with brand generates so much free money. Like, you're just gonna cycle and build up a board. I'm actually super scared for this. It is probably high skill. You need a lot of APM. It's gonna be a lot of time and a lot of thinking. There's gonna be like moments where you're wondering, is this worth to buy? How do I make this work? What do I transition into? Because I saw in the pre-release stream some Millhouse gameplay. It seemed broken, but really hard to pilot well. So I think it's a high skill cap. I think in low ranks or in some lobbies, people will die early with this. But in the right hands, this is just like absolutely mental. So until people have perfected this, I'm gonna give this a 5. Like, this can just do some illegal stuff. This is just like not healthy. Then we have Maleficent, Monostorm, the Mech Lady. We got Elementium, a Squirrel Bomb, a tier 3 4/4 mech. Death Rattle, deal 4 damage to an enemy minion. Repeat for each of your mechs that died this combat. So it's a bomb that scales up the more mechs you have on the board. So remember during bot comp, every mech that died you would get +2/+2. Now every mech that dies will deal an extra 4 damage. And then, dude, add this with Baron, maybe McKay, maybe even Kangors. You could actually build a comp around this, right? But some sort of Exodia bomb comp. Issue is that those comps do get outscaled by like double Maligos, little reg elementals, unless you hit the nuts. This is not only just a good tempo card, it has potential to be a great combo card. Actually, I just realized an issue is that you need mechs to die, so if mechs die, Kangors doesn't work, because Kangors is gonna resummon those mechs instead of this Squirrel Bomb. And mechs dying doesn't really work super well on Maleficent because you play Deflectobots, you play a bunch of Divine Shields. Generally speaking, you will have like maybe 4 mechs die, and your Deflectos and Mackerels should still survive. So it's gonna require a very specific setup and comp. I don't think this is gonna win lobbies. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's good tempo, it's gonna be a lot of fun, probably a top 3 comp, and you'll see some good highlight clips from this. I'm gonna give this a 4. I think this card will surprise a lot of people, and I think you're gonna have a lot of fun experimenting with this and maybe getting a bomb comp together. I might be a little bit optimistic though. Maybe it's just absolute garbage. Maybe it's like a golden bomb and it just ends up doing not much against your opponents. But I do see the potential in it. Bigglesworth, the cat, got Lil KT, a tier 2 5/2. Neutral, at the start of your turn, get a plain minion from your lowest health opponent's warband. So the lowest health opponent in the lobby, you get a random plain minion from their board. Now, very often the lowest health is the greediest player. They are the ones that power level, triple into early 6s, and they will take a shitload of damage. So you will be stealing some good cards, I think, from this, because, I mean, if you're low in the lobby, either you're just a weak board and pretty bad, but in high ranks, very often, the greedy players are there. And again, it's a card that generates you a free card every turn. It's a tier 2, you get it really early, so really early on, you already start getting a lot of free cards. Also, keep in mind, most people buy the same cards early on, like the Acolytes of Cartoons, the tokens, all the strong cards early. You're gonna steal all of those. So you will get some good triples, I think. You can also steal buddies from your opponents. This has so much potential, and again, compared to some other buddies, this is actually really good. Stealing a guaranteed card every turn from an opponent in the lobby is insane. I'm gonna give this a 4. Just because I think, you know, Bigglesworth still isn't a great hero. Your hero power still might not even activate for like 10 turns. So Bigglesworth will still be in an iffy spot. But I think they got an insane buddy compared to others. I think they have one of the better buddies in the game. I just can't really give Bigglesworth a 5, sadly. Mutant is the Devourer, one of my favorite heroes, got Nightmare Ectoplasm, a tier 3 5/4 neutral. When you devour this, so when you eat that card, I think, spit its stats onto 2 extra minions. Wait, that's nutty. To just keep this on the board, you just hero power stats will land on it, and at some point you just eat that, and I think the stats go onto 3 different cards because it says onto 2 extra minions. So it goes onto 1 minion and then 2 extra. So you triple your stats. Oh, dude, I love this. In case you don't know how I play Mutinous, is a lot of tempo. I try and hero power a lot and just make some mid-game scaling work, and that is pretty good if you play a mech comp or something. Imagine if you have like 2 cleaves and a deflectable on the board or something, and then this card, you eat this card, and you spit the stats onto all 3 of those cards. Dude, I think this is a sleeper. I've not seen anyone mention this card or talk about how good it is. I feel like everyone is ignoring the amount of stats and potential you can do with this. It doesn't have a tribe, so you can't scale it up normally with other buffs. You need to land your buffs on it though with your hero power, so you need to do some smart maneuvering, make sure your board doesn't go too wide. But with the right playstyle, I think, and with the right ideas, this is really good. Like, play a Battle Master, eat it, goes onto this, and you triple that stats, like the stats from the Battle Master. I'm gonna give this a 5. I don't think I saw Mutinous being played in the pre-release stream, but I think this is gonna be really strong, and I think you will see a lot of Mutinous players. I could be terribly wrong, but let's hope I'm not, because I'm excited to try this out. Then we have N'Zoth, who just got the baby of N'Zoth, which is a tier 4 8/4 neutral. Tier 4 you get a Red late. The body is okay, I guess, but it's not something that you plan on keeping on the board because it has Battlecry, make a friendly Daffodil minion golden. So you play this just to make Daffodil minion golden. It's like Reno's hero power. It is literally Reno's hero power, but only for Daffodils, which isn't horrible. If you have a Salvos, it's great, right? In the late game, if you have a Trickster, let's say, if you have Goldrin, you know, you can, or Buster, if you have one of those 6 drops, this is absolutely nuts. They just gave N'Zoth a Reno hero power for Daffodils. Sadly, N'Zoth isn't great. You still don't really get early economy or triples guaranteed. Your hero power doesn't do a whole lot. But in the late game, N'Zoth is going to be a monster. They just gotta get there and find the good Daffodils. So I gotta give this a 4. I don't think it is super consistent. I don't think it makes N'Zoth insanely good. But it's a really good buddy. I noticed that today, like, part 2 of the ratings of the buddies are a lot better than part 1. In part 1, there were a lot of like mediocre buddies. Right now, I've given a lot of 4s and 5s. Nosdormu got Chromie, which is a tier 3 6/6 neutral. Minions above Tavern have +1/+1 for each time you it was refreshed this turn. I saw people say this is super good. I don't see it though. Let's say you roll like 3 times and you get like +3/+3 on cards in the shop. You can buy like 2 cards maybe 3. Now you got those stats of like 3 cards. Is that worth it? Sure, but I mean, are you gonna roll 3 times every single turn? It's like a little bit of early tempo, but it's you also gotta replace the cards on your board then. It's not buffs on your existing board, so you would have to sell cards, buy cards. It's not scaling. It's not something that you keep in the long run. It's something for some decent, again, stats on the board early so you can level, but I don't think Nosdormu needs that. I think Nosdormu needs a little bit more to be good. I think this card is just going to be a 2. I don't think it's going to have a massive impact on the game. It's not going to make Nosdormu that much better. It is like, okay, you want to have some like a little bit of stats in the shop. Okay, it's not bad. It's just not groundbreaking. Now we have Overlord Sarfang, who got a tier 4 9/5 neutral. Dranosh Sarfang for the Horde also grants health. Dude, what? This is so good, right? Like, if it's turn 8, you get +8 attack normally on cards if you buy them, which is like, sure, if you get a Cleaver or Divine Shield, nice. But +8 on buying something just for 1 gold hero power, now that is value. That is so good. It just doubles the effect, or even more than doubles the effect of hero power, because health is arguably more important than attack. This is no scaling though, so the issue is that you still need to build up your board. You can only do this once a turn, and you know, preferably on magnetic cards, you'll end up being a mech comp, I guess. So there is some complications. It is really great stats, but you have to keep this Dranosh on the board. It's a 9/5 neutral. It's not that bad, but it's hard to make part of a composition. But dude, if you just find like a module the turn after you find a Menace or a Hydra, you get so much value. You just get a lot of free stats for your board, and then you can just sell the Dranosh and try and do something different. I want to give this card a 5, but I don't think it's impactful enough yet for Sarfang. They still has no economy, like no way to get triples. You're just gonna play a really good stat board in the mid game, and that's it, sadly. So yeah, just a 4. But I do think this is incredibly strong. Now everyone's favorite hero patch is the Pirate. Tuskar Raider is a tier 3 4/4 Pirate. Battlecry, give a minion +1/+1 for each pirate you played this game. If you hold this in hand, you play APM pirates, you're gonna have played so many pirates, and this will be a massive dunk. You don't really do that though. You don't want to keep this in hand just in case you go APM, because if you're APM, which is like with Hoggers Infinite Gold, you already have Infinite infinite scaling. If you play your arms, if you play your peggies, you'll have more than enough stats, you don't need this. So there's more a tempo play. It's for each pirate played, not bought, so also pirates from hero power count, and I hero power every turn on patches, so you know every turn this already gains a +1/+1 extra. It's tier 3, let's say you get it on turn 5. How many pirates have you played? I don't know, like 5, 6? You could hold it even for another turn or 2, and then, you know, just dump it onto a pirate, or just give a minion. You don't even need to buff a pirate. So if you have a Deflectabot or a Hydra and you want to, you know, I don't know, go menagerie with patches. I assume you're just gonna force pirates though, so most of the time this will end up buffing a pirate, but just you have the option of buffing other cards. I think it's okay tempo. I don't think it is like super necessary. Patches is already strong early mid game because pirates do have a lot of, you know, decent tempo and good stats. All that you care about on patches is just hitting the triples and getting that hogger. This card is not necessarily gonna help with that. It's gonna give you additional stats to power level to 5 though, but if you then still don't roll the necessary tools that you need, you're still kind of screwed. Yeah, I'm gonna give this buddy only a 2. I think it's good. It's gonna make patches, you know, even better early on, but I don't think patches needed that. Patchwork got a tier 3 6/6 neutral Weebomination. Battlecry, give a minion +1 health for each health your hero is missing. So you probably want to keep this in hand for a bit until you're lower HP, then just slap this onto something and you can turn any card into a Battle Master. A Spore, so a poison Battle Master, or anything that you think needs some health. Like a Chroma Wing actually is insane here. If you have a Chroma Wing with super high attack, you can do this on there and it's also gonna get super high health. It is a 6/6 as well. It's decent stats, although I don't think, again, you play this early on. It's not gonna make patches amazing, like just getting a lot of free health isn't gonna, you know, suddenly make your hero power worth it. I'm gonna give this a 2. I think it is actually like a lot of stats compared to some other buddies, and it has a lot of cool like applications, but it's patchwork. And then Pyramid got Titanic Guardian, a tier 3 6/2 neutral. Whenever a different friendly minion gains health, this gains it too. So if you hero power this, nothing happens. It needs to land onto something else. That's a bit of RNG. If it lands on something else though, this gains that +4 HP from hero power. Now, it isn't necessarily hero power if something gains health. So if something gains stats in general, if you give +2/+2 to something with a clunker, you're gonna get +2 HP onto Titanic Guardian. Big issue is that it has, you know, only 6 attack and it's a neutral, and there's no way to scale the attack. Since, yeah, it doesn't have a tribe. It's just gonna be a 6 and then with a whole bunch of health. A 640 or something. It's like a Battle Master, right? Battle Master is okay, but just getting a Battle Master as your buddy, it doesn't justify picking this hero. The hero power is still really bad. Pyramid needs more than just a Titanic Guardian. I could be wrong. I don't know how well this scales. Like maybe this gets to 100 HP incredibly quickly and then it is good. Let's say it's like turn 10 and this will have 100 HP that will allow you to level straight to tier 6 and then do crazy shit. So I'll have to see for myself how quickly this is gonna be, you know, scaling up and how strong it is, because maybe it does allow you to just level like crazy and do other things instead. In which case this goes up, but for now I'm gonna give this a 2. We're almost done. Only part 3 left, which I'll try and record later today. So if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you click that down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.